Mbuila. Yes, the Battle of Mbuila. Mbuila is spelled Mbwila. Mbuila. The Battle of Mbuila. Now, the Battle of Mbuila had the Portuguese ransack the whole of the Congo kingdom, and then they killed as many as 5,000 Congolese. They carried the king away. Remember, they beheaded King Antonio I. They came back for the Battle of Mbuila, and this time around, it was terrible. They captured so many Congolese, and they also killed 5,000 Congolese. My brother, my sister, they even carried the new king, who was the father of our hero for today, Ganga Zamba. And see what happened. They carried his brother and his sister along. My God, carried him all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. Where were they heading to? Now his mother was called Queen Aquatuni. Queen Aquatuni, and Aquatuni is spelled Aqualtune. Queen Aquatuni. I know you want to know the full name. Now the full name is Queen Aquatuni as Gondidu Mahmoud da Silva Santos. What a name! Hear me now. Now the Portuguese killed 5,000 people in the Battle of Mbuila. They carried 400 nobles from the royal family, carried the king himself, and then carried 4 of the king's children, including our hero for today, Ganga Zamba. Now Ganga Zamba arrived in present-day northern Brazil, in a town known as Palmeiras. That was where he was enslaved with so many other Africans taken from the ancient kingdom of Congo on the plantations where they were supposed to work. But Ganga Zamba, whilst he was in the Congo, despite the fact that he was a royal, he was also a military man, in terms of guerrilla military man. And he had a lot of powers which he used in protecting his people at the time. See what happened now. When he arrived in the Palmeiras in Brazil, he was on the plantations as a slave. He was able to find his way out of the plantations when he escaped. When he escaped, he found himself going all the way to the Quilombo. Quilombo is spelled Quilombo. Now the Quilombo was a large refuge of runaway slaves in Brazil. These were slaves who were coming all the way from present-day Angola, Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Congo Brazzaville. Together, they founded the Kingdom of Congo. Hear what happened now. This is Ganga Zamba. He became the first leader of the massive runaway slaves of Angola Ganga. Now, Angola Ganga was the name they gave to the Quilombo. They gave it an African name. It was a refuge for all runaway slaves from all these countries that I mentioned. In those days, the Kingdom of Congo. And Congo is spelled Kongo. Hear what happened now. Hey, now he became their chief because they knew him from the days in Congo when he was from the royal family. His mother Aquatuni was the queen, and his father was the king who had been killed during the Battle of Mbuila. See what happened now. Now the Congo people knew how much damage the Portuguese had brought to their own kingdom. So they hated the Portuguese. So these ones who were able to run away from the Portuguese found themselves on the high hills and mountains of the Quilombo, which they renamed the Angola Ganga. Angola Ganga. Janga. Angola Janga. Janga is spelled Janga. Angola Janga. My brother, my sister, that was where he was. They founded their own kingdom up there, known as the Angola Janga. And so many people who were able to escape from the Portuguese found themselves there. They became so powerful that they invented their own weapons. And anytime the Portuguese tried to come up on the hills and the tops of the mountains, all they did was to roll heavy stones on them and shoot poisonous arrows at them. The Portuguese were never able to bring them down. Hey, in no time, the Quilombo, aka the Angola Janga, grew bigger and bigger. As night after night, our hero for today, Ganga Zamba, would move all the way from the tops of the mountains and come down and aid other slaves come all the way up to the Quilombo, aka the Angola Janga. See what happened now? Hear me now. Hi. Many more things happened. Hey, when he became the king of the Quilombo, aka the Angola Janga, it started to develop. They got involved in agriculture, tilling the lands on top of the mountains. Hey, they became so independently powerful that the Portuguese started fretting and sweating. Now, they decided to go all the way and beg our hero for today, Ganga Zamba, for a peace truce. Ganga Zamba gave them conditions. Our condition is that we are not part of your kingdom. We are an independent people. We do not want you to ever try to attack us because we will attack you back. Number two, we are not ready for you to give us your rules because we rule ourselves. They agreed because they knew that the people of Ganga Zamba were very, very, very angry and hated the Portuguese. Interestingly, after the peace truce, some two members of Ganga Zamba's Quilombo, aka the Angola Janga, were not happy. They walked up to Janga and went all the way to Ganga Zamba and told him, King, you took a bad decision. It's sad that we have to talk to our king like this. Why do you ever want to be in peace with the Portuguese? They never gave us peace. They killed so many of our people there in the ancient kingdom of Congo. They beheaded our king. They killed a lot of us. Today, if we have the opportunity to attack them and kill them like we are killing them now, why do you go for a peace truce? Ganga Zamba could not say anything. He just continued to throw his head from left to the right. He knew that he had taken a bad decision, but he could not turn it around. That was the beginning of the end of Ganga Zamba. See what happened to him now? His rule was very, very, very peaceful. In fact, the compound that formed the Angola Janga, my brother, my sister, had about 1,500 different houses and flats. And several families and guards and soldiers and officials inundated the compound. They took all over the tops of the mountains. And they had soldiers standing sentry night and day to be sure that the Portuguese would not come near. And the Portuguese would not even try it. Everybody respected Ganga Zamba. Oh, now in 1678, when Ganga Zamba accepted a peace truce between the Congolese and the Portuguese, oh, things started breaking down. Now, the governor of the Portuguese at that time was called Pernambuco. Pernambuco, and it's spelled Pernambuco. Pernambuco. Oh my God, that was his name. And there was also a town around there called Pernambuco. What a name. Now, when that peace treaty was signed, two of his own people came over to him and told him that that was a bad decision. And this was just a year after signing that peace truce in 1679. Oh my God, when our hero Ganga Zamba was only 49 years old, the treaty was challenged by a man called Zumbi. Now, Zumbi was also known as Zumbi dos Palmeiras. He was a very powerful soldier, also from the Kingdom of Congo. He was one of those who opposed that peace treaty and walked up to the king, Ganga Zamba, challenging him. It led to a revolt and a breakaway faction from Angola Janga. Oh my God. And see what happened now. And as you can see, this is a painting of Zumbi. He was a spearman, very powerful, and everybody feared him. In fact, he was a man who loved to go bare-chested and barefooted. In fact, he was a man who was said to only have his bath only when it rained. Yes. Zumbi. So there was a rebellion in the Quilombo, aka Angola Janga. Oh, and one bright morning, they planned that they would do something to their king. In the evening, when he had settled down to have his food, they dropped poison into it. Our hero for today, Ganga Zamba, he ate the food. In fact, all his wives knew that he was going to die because they had been warned and threatened that if they revealed the secret, they would be beheaded. My brother, my sister, Zumbi just looked at the whole thing and said, no way, he must die. And that was what happened. In fact, they put poison in his food. His wives, he had a first wife, second wife, and a third wife. 3 wives. My brother, my sister, he ate the food, started having stomach ache. He knew that he had been poisoned by his people. And he knew exactly what poison it was. He knew how he would be able to treat that poison because he was a man who knew herbs. But he came out onto the Quilombo compound and told all his people that he knew that his people did not like him anymore. All because of the peace treaty he signed with the Portuguese. Even though he knew what kind of poison it was and he would be able to treat himself, he would not. He would go down as a brave man, giving them the opportunity to take over the reins. Oh gosh. He died, my brother, my sister. Oh, in the confusion that followed after the rebellion, Ganga Zamba was poisoned, and his own relatives and even wives knew about it, but they couldn't do anything about it. He died. Many of his followers who had moved to Cacao Valley were re-enslaved by the Portuguese after the death of Ganga Zamba. Resistance to the Portuguese then continued under Zumbi, who now became the king. But the reign was not as it was in the days of Ganga Zamba. There was a movie that was made in Brazil in 1963. And that's how many years ago? My brother, my sister, several years ago. But it was not released until 1972 because there was a military coup in Brazil the following year, 1964. And the film about this rebellion could have just sparked up the whole thing. So they decided to hold it for almost 10 solid years before they released it in 1972. Now, if you haven't seen this movie yet, in the African history class, one of these days, we will show it to you. Now, he's a national hero in Brazil, Ganga Zamba, a great man. Today, we remember you, Papa. Papa, Unenyaminko. Papa, Waebi. I say, Papa, Waebi. Oh, Papa. Papa, Waebi. Papa, Unenyaminko. Oh, Papa. Mesune Yamiko. Papa, oh, Papa. Papa, Yamiko. Ganga Zamba. Ganga Zamba. Zumba Ganga. Uneyamiko wate. Uneyamiko Papa. Papa, Miss Uneyamiko. Uneyamiko, Minubeko, Papa, Papa, Minubeko, Papa, Missy Minubeko, Papa, Papa, oh, Papa, Papa bye yo. Papa me say bye yo. Oh. In the burden of knowledge, I ask you, now that you know what to do, now that you know the story of Ganga Zumba Zunga Bamba, now that you know the story of Ganga Zumba, Zumba Ganga, what do you do? Ganga Zumba, Zumba Ganga of Angola Janga, what would you do? Bianani ole mini obafe yen zunda kagane bezaka yine yen pabango bokaya nang fifia yenya nukai na wo bana ehu ebeden lele anjima singa be kunne lele anjima singa be kunne wa lele anjima singa be kunne wa lele anjima singa be kunne. How will the life of Ganga Zumba impact your own life in present day? Oh, Ganga Zumba, Zunga Bamba. Papa mula ho meo, mama mula ho.